Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and a very good morning to each and every one of you who's tuned into Pakistan TV and are watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Hassan Khan, my wonderful colleague who happens to be Madam
Naila, Shuja. Shahzad, thank you so much for that lovely intro. I hope you guys are doing well. We have a jam-packed show for you today. Now, Shahzad, you look absolutely stunning. I love this maroon combination on you. I'm sorry, it is what it is, viewers. He looks amazing.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. I think it gets my day started on a very positive note, and that's exactly the message today as well. You know, for each and every individual who's out there these days, the growing trend is that, you know, that if somebody walks in, you would be like, hey, you know what, your shoe looks really nice. Hey, you know what, your tie looks really nice. Rather than that, why can't we say, hey, you know what, you look really nice? And that's exactly what's going to set the tone for them as well, and likewise for Naila over here. And in addition to this, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's my bad because just yesterday, you know, we kind of discussed it, and I was like, hey, you know what, let's wear brown suits. And in the morning, who forgot, apparently, well, the one who's not wearing brown. So to kind of get started, where Naila has actually mentioned that, you know, that it's really a jam-packed show, I think the foremost important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Kashmiris on both sides of the line of control and across the world are observing the Martyrs' Day as well. And if we are to speak about it, imagine that the November 6 marks one of the darkest and bloodiest chapters in Kashmir's history, when hundreds of thousands of Muslims were massacred by the forces of Dogra rulers Maharaja Hari Singh, the Indian Army and RSS-backed Hindu extremists in various parts of the Jammu region. Pakistan has always affirmed its unwavering support to the people of Kashmir and their right for self-determination.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pakistan stands in solidarity with the people of Kashmir, and you know, Shahzad, viewers, we are moving towards the next round of Afghan talks, you know, which will be taking place in Istanbul today. Pakistan has already made it quite clear to the Afghan Taliban that the Afghan territory must not be used for any acts of terrorism against Pakistan. Now, in these latest round of talks, it is expected to renew the efforts to restore confidence between the two countries and diffuse tensions following the recent border clashes, which were brought to a halt through the ceasefire.
Exactly, and we certainly really need to applaud for the intervention role, or the interventional role being played by Qatar and Turkey as well. And we hope and pray that over here, as people of Pakistan and for the people of Afghanistan as well, that the ceasefire maintains and the talks are fruitful as well. In addition to this, obviously the world's talking about the New York mayoral election which is taking place. So why don't you take the lead?
Absolutely. So as we are well aware, it is all over the news, viewers. Zohran Mamdani has become the newly elected mayor of New York City, and this is quite notable in many ways. He is becoming the city's youngest mayor since 1892. America's first Muslim mayor and the first mayor born in Africa. This 34-year-old entered the race and with no name to recognition, and the world has been taken by storm.
And exactly, we will be talking about, you know, the massive campaign that he led, ladies and gentlemen, which actually made him the mayor of New York City. We'll speak about it, how he really touched lives by touching their hearts, and kind of made sure that he was always relevant whenever he took to the dice. In addition to this, on the other hand, we will kind of speak about how population, ladies and gentlemen, over here in Pakistan is on rise, which is indicated by the World Bank as well. Back in 2024, it was the increase was at 1.25%, but now if we are to kind of look at records from 2023, it was at 2.55%. And the finance minister, Mr. Aurangzeb, terms population and climate change as an existential issue which Pakistan faces. Pakistan, as of now, is home to over 250 million Pakistanis. Will be speaking about it, how to deal with it, how the provinces needs to come to the game as well. In addition to this, towards the end, obviously it's sports which I'm going to rein in or rope in as well. But I think it's a great news for people who actually love football or love to watch football or play football, because the Asian Football Federation President Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa visits Pakistan, marking a new chapter in the promotion of sports, particularly football. As per the direction of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, His Excellency Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa has been declared as a state guest during his visit, which will be from 4th of November till 7th of November, and how it will actually influence football over here, or the facilities to be developed, is something that we will be talking about. So ladies and gentlemen, with all of this, we're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. When you come back, we will unfold our conversation about all the highlights that we have given you already. So time for you now to quickly run to your kitchen or to your coffee machine, get yourself a cup of coffee and continue to sip on it. Let's do this. We are World This Morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned and staying with us. We hope and pray that that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well. Just to kind of unfold our conversation, ladies and gentlemen, Kashmiris on both sides of the line of control and across the world have actually been or are observing the Jammu Martyrs' Day today. And in addition to this, the Honorable Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan and President have given their messages, which I would want to bring to your attention, where if we are to speak about the Honorable President Asif Ali Zardari and Prime Minister, both Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif have actually paid tribute to martyrs of Jammu massacres of November 1947, and they reaffirmed Pakistan's unwavering support for Kashmiri struggle, condemn India's continued occupation and human rights violations, and call for peaceful resolution of the Kashmir dispute under UN resolutions. President Asif Ali Zardari has termed the Jammu tragedy of November 6, 1947 as one of the worst human tragedies in the history of the subcontinent, saying that the forces of the Dogra Maharaja, in collusion with the RSS extremists, committed horrific acts of cruelty and barbarity against the Muslims of Jammu. In his message on the occasion of Jammu Martyrs' Day, the President said that more than 200,000 Muslims were martyred, while over 500,000 were forced to migrate as a result of the large-scale violence and persecutions. He said that the Jammu tragedy remains a dark chapter in the history of occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which forever altered the region's demographic composition. President Zardari further said that India's illegal occupation and atrocities against Kashmiris continue till this day. He condemned the attempts to settle non-locals in the region and raise Kashmiri identity, calling these measures a continuation of the policies that began in 1947. And if you are to speak about the resolve of the Kashmiri people, whether on that side of the border or this side of the border, ladies and gentlemen, certainly as Pakistanis, we stand tall.
Absolutely.
We stand with a lot of resolve, and we will always continue to make sure that we keep on reminding our audiences about this darkest chapter in the history and how the Dogra forces or the RSS backed extremist mindset have actually murdered 200,000 more people on this very day back in 1947.
Absolutely, Shahzad. It's also extremely important that we also, in a way salute our government officials for constantly going to these international platforms and raising the voice for the Kashmiris, especially those in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and not just them, but also the people of Palestine. So Pakistan is doing its due diligence, playing its role to make sure that Pakistan is trying to resolve all of these issues, especially when it comes to the situation that is going on in Istanbul between the Afghan Taliban and Pakistan, where the next round of talks are going to be held. And Pakistan has made it quite clear to the Afghan Taliban on multiple occasions that the Afghan territory must not be used for any acts of terrorism against Pakistan. Now, in these latest round of talks, which is expected to renew the efforts to restore confidence between the two countries and diffuse the tensions following the recent border clashes, which were brought to a halt through a ceasefire. Now, both the sides will be meeting under the agreed timetable, and the upcoming round is likely to finalize the mechanism for enforcing the ceasefire. Now, between Pakistan and Afghanistan, things had escalated after the cross-border attacks from the Afghan territory on the 11th of October. Now, both sides have reached the ceasefire agreement in Doha, and again, Pakistan is extremely grateful to not just Turkey but also Qatar for being able to mediate the ceasefire between the Afghan Taliban and Pakistan.
Exactly, and we have been following this story, and we've been making sure that that we kind of keep our people posted on that as well. I'm going to take you back in time if we are to speak about the Afghan Taliban talks. I think back previous month on the 19th, ladies and gentlemen, the ceasefire came into play, and then there were mediation talks as well, which unfortunately weren't really successful, and the Federal Minister for Information Broadcasting took to the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, and he said that that no result actually came out of the discussions that we had. And then in addition to this, the very next day, the Defense Minister, Mr. Khwaja Asif, actually in an interview said that, that if we have to protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Pakistan, we will make sure that even if we have to get into Afghanistan and strike over there, we will to eradicate fitna al-Khawarij, and not just that fitna al-Khawarij or fitna al-Hindustan as well, because Afghanistan is at a proxy of India. And all of these skirmishes started while the foreign minister of the Afghan Taliban regime was in India. In addition to this, further following the talks, the plot was tried to be twisted by the Afghan Taliban spokesperson, to which Pakistan did really kind of gave a befitting response on all media sources as well, and made sure that that facts were known by the by all the people globally. And that's exactly what the world bought. But now, in addition to this, I think for the people of Afghanistan, it's a great news that that we come out with a peaceful solution for how to eradicate these terrorists who are using the Afghan soil under the Afghan Taliban regime. Absolutely. And we hope and pray that that it's going to be beneficial for the people of Pakistan and people of Afghanistan. And we do pray that that within Afghanistan there are sane people who can actually kind of tell the Afghan Taliban regime, hey, you know what, this is not your cake to go for. And certainly Pakistan Armed Forces, alhamdulillah, maybe the civil leadership or military leadership are on the same page, are on the same platform, and we stand tall on our resolve that no matter what, we will not allow any sort of terrorism on our motherland we call Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said, Shahzad. Moving towards the next, which is Zohran Mamdani. Absolutely, and he's become the new mayor of New York City, and it's quite a shock. It's sent shockwaves all throughout the world, not just in New York City, not just in the US, but all over the world. People are rejoicing. This is a huge step, not just for the New York City itself, but also for the entirety of the US.
Exactly, and before you kind of, I'm very sorry that I'm going to barge in over here, and before you kind of introduce our worthy guest over here at this point of time, I would want to include a statement by the United States President, Mr. Donald Trump, over here.
Please.
Because the United States President Donald Trump said that the United States had lost sovereignty after New Yorkers elected leftist Zohran Mamdani as their next mayor and claimed the country's largest city would become communist. Speaking in Miami after Mamdani's decisive victory, Trump said, "We'll take care of it," without providing further explanation of what he meant. Trump added that Miami will soon be the refuge for those fleeing communism in New York, framing the election outcome as a critical choice for all Americans. Trump said the country faces a clear choice between communism and common sense, calling it either an economic nightmare or an economic miracle. But imagine, okay, so this is what excites me now. So by the grace of Almighty Allah, alhamdulillah, no matter where the United States president is, but he will certainly make sure that that he speaks about our amazing Prime Minister and the Field Marshal. So before we move on or jump on to Mamdani, I would really kind of want to mention over here how the US President Donald Trump did not miss the chance to embarrass India as he revisited the India-Pakistan conflict, reminding New Delhi that 8 planes were shot down during the May clashes between the two countries. And speaking at the American Business Forum in Miami, Trump openly questioned India's claims of military success and appeared to endorse Pakistan's version of the events. Okay, you don't believe me? Go ahead, listen to it for yourself. Go ahead.
And in India, I was in the midst of a trade deal with both of them. And then I read on the front page of a certain newspaper, I said, I don't want to mention the newspaper because it's usually fake news, but I heard they're going to war. 7 planes were shot down. An 8th was really badly wounded, but 8 planes were shot down essentially. And I said, this is war, and they were going at it.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We never lie. That's what it is.
I mean, that's true. I mean, you heard it from President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump himself. But you know what? We're going to move towards our wonderful guest, for the conversation on Zohran Mamdani. Again, very interesting situation that is happening in New York City. And for more on this, we are joined by political analyst Miss MADIHA MASOOD. MADIHA, thank you so much for speaking to Pakistan TV. Now, jumping right in, let's talk about this. What historic first did Zohran Mamdani achieve with his victory in the 2025 New York City mayoral election?
Win, and everybody is calling it a historic win because a young, progressive, charismatic, I would say, man with a great smile is leading all the youth and is winning as the mayor of one of the largest city in the country. The city everybody was keeping eye on, of course, because this election was actually created a huge hype, not within the country, but across the country. As you know, since he won the election, we are seeing the heavy celebrations since a day before he got elected. But since last night, it seems like whole New York is so happy, so happy that they were waiting for this announcement that he got elected as the mayor. But that's incredible that at this young age he marked a history, because nobody was expecting that a young, passionate South Asian Muslim is going to take over the New York City, though there were seasoned politicians in the race. So but I went through all his the campaign, and he did an incredible job beyond words. Like, if I keep on going appreciating him, though I have Republican views, but I would like to appreciate him, and I would want everybody to acknowledge his ability, the way he mobilized the voters, supporters, not only the youth. He actually is successful to mobilize all the voters. He made everybody convinced. That's the point. Everyone should appreciate him. And since last night, I have been urging everybody that we Republicans should watch his election campaign. That how a young blood step into the country, and he made this possible. Well,
Exactly, exactly. And Madiha, at this point of time, since you have mentioned this, I would want to kind of bring in a very different sentiment. Now, imagine where you said that he was able to mobilize almost everybody, and we did see that within the pre-ballots, it was more than 750,000 people who had casted their votes. And it's the largest ever turnout, in the non-presidential elections, which is great. But, since you mentioned about Republicans and how they really need to watch it, why don't you shed some light on the outcome for the President Donald Trump's backed candidates or the Republican Party? Let's put it this way.
Republicans struggle to connect with the city voters. Urban areas like New York wanted vital change because everyday New Yorkers live over there, not the only elite, rich business people. Then everyday New Yorkers who walk on the streets, who struggle on daily basis for their survival. And actually, he is the voice of those everyday New Yorkers and the youth. uh, he went to every door. He made it possible to talk to everybody else. If anybody else has any of the problem, he is listening to them. He is making points how he is going to resolve those issues. Again, that's incredible. Not impossible or difficult to make it possible, but he's actually putting his great efforts, and a lot of effort is with him. Last night, in his victory speech, he appreciated his volunteers. 100,000 plus volunteers contributed in his campaign. That's a big thing. Whole world should know that volunteers, they never take a single penny from anyone else. They go by their heart, and other than their works and job, they enroll themselves in political campaigns to be the part of that campaign. And all the volunteers, they were on the seventh sky, because they were telling that they are so much proud that they participated in this historic election campaign.
I think
It's
absolutely,
so good to
yeah.
see that, how happy she is herself.
Yeah, and being a Republican as well. Madiha, something that I do want to touch upon is the reaction of the world leaders or the international figures, how they've reacted to Mamdani's mayoral win, and how did they, frame its significance?
It's a, of course, it's a political thing, and a lot we are actually waiting on to be on the mainframe, because it's just a thing that he got elected. All right, now the real phase, now the real stage. has appeared, and he has to work on that because providing a freeze, residential like rental freeze, then easy access to groceries, then free rapid bus service in the New York. Three big claims, bold claims by him. And fourth, that he's going to impose tax on rich people, which rich people are not going to accept it so easily. They are not comfortable with this clause. He's adding to his policies, and that is the policy that the Republicans are opposing him, because these are socialist communist claims, and in the in international world, socialism communism never works, and U.S., it stands on individualism. It empowers a single individual. That's the biggest example. Zohran is like example. If individualism never works in the U.S. premises, how come a single-handed a man can come into a mayor of one of the largest city in the country? So I don't know how he's going to work on that, but of course, there is a way that he has to get back to the federal, as president has made this clear that he has to come back to the federal for the funds, and without a federal approval, nothing can work in the city. This is one of the biggest city,
Yeah.
the business hub. Nobody can afford to stop it even for an hour. So things will unfold soon, and hopefully, in the favor of New Yorkers. See?
Exactly. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Madiha, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you all the way from Texas, yeah, USA as well. And while you were talking about,
Yeah.
the global leaders and what they had to say, imagine that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's tweet is something that I would want to kind of share over here, where he says that heartiest congratulations to Zohran Mamdani on his historic win as mayor of New York City. His victory reaffirms that roti, kapra or makan remains universal rights, a manifesto of dignity shared by people from Karachi to New York, a proud moment for progressive everywhere. And certainly, it kind of answers it all as well, and that's exactly what
Yeah.
Mr. Zohran Mamdani is doing. So congratulations, Mr. Zohran Mamdani, for first of all making sure that at such a young tender age,
Yeah.
they happen you to be the voice of the people of
People.
the New York. And from 1st of January, when it's going to be New Year, people of New York City will have a new mayor and a new setup as well, which I do believe is great. Now, in addition to this, obviously, we are Pakistanis.
Yes.
We love children. But what we do
Absolutely.
the most is that we love reproducing children as well, which is why our population, ladies and gentlemen, is staggering.
Booming.
And if we are to speak about the population index, we have been at number 4 or 5 in terms of population index, and that's exactly what our finance minister had to say. So our finance minister, Mr. Aurangzeb, said that in terms of population and climate change, we might have existential issues. And if we are to speak about these existential issues, what we need to do is that we need to have a better understanding of how the federal and the provinces need to kind of come together, sit down, and come up with more of awareness campaigns where people could actually do better. And to kind of talk
Absolutely.
about it, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by a senior economist. He happens to be Dr. Nasir Iqbal. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So, Dr. Nasir, I'm going to straight jump onto the facts, and that is that if we are to speak about the World Bank report, it says that in 2024, the population rise was at somewhat 1.5%. In 2023, it was at 2.5%, and it has always been going up. For us Pakistanis, we do love children, but it is taking its brunt onto the economy of our country.
Yeah.
Please help us understand why population is a major concern. Obviously, we do understand climate change and the losses that it has incurred in the previous past. Some years has been at $40 billion as well in terms of losses because of climate change. Even this year, we've had a lot of flooding over here, urban flooding. So please go ahead.
So my population is really a big challenge for us. You know that the government is also vigilant for this very pertinent issue, because if you look into the stats as World Bank and also the previous census mentioned that the population growth is around 2.5, 2.6%, and the GDP growth is roughly same. It means the net growth, net development of the country is almost zero. This implies that if after every minute, after every hour, you need a new school, you need a new public infrastructure, you need a new hospital, you need a new, every kind of like public infrastructure is required after every hour. this link with the massive population growth. And when we study our neighboring country, they significantly reduce their population growth up to 1.5, 1.3, 1.4%. But unfortunately, over the last 3 to 7 decades, we never materialize this objective to significantly reduce this population growth that hampered not only our economy but also create a lot of burden on the others needs. As I mentioned, you need a housing, you need a hospital, you need a school. So these are all things that really matter in terms of the highest population growth. But what is way forward for us as the key challenge, the population, as we celebrate that our youth is a big asset for us in the near future. So we have to convert this asset into a more productive asset rather than the liability, where the government and the planning commission is also focusing on the kind of policy reforms, and the prime minister have a special direction on it that we need to be more vigilant on population growth. Because one, if we left our youth unemployed, it will create a lot of problem for economy and the productivity will further decline. So we have to improve skill set of our population. We have to give them the right skill to be employed either in the local market, either in the international market. So this is the
Absolutely,
first point that we really have to.
absolutely. Dr. Iqbal, understanding this prevalent situation at hand, mass migration is also an issue from the rural to the urban or the urban to the rural now, given the fact that many people are choosing to move away from the city life and those who are in the rural areas want to move towards the city life. Understanding this, climate change has been a huge factor in the recent years as the global temperature has also risen. And because of this mass migration, climate change has also caused implications of fog, smog throughout Pakistan all over. Now, specifically speaking towards Islamabad or the Punjab, we faced the problem of smog. Any ideas of how we can tackle this as winters are
Yeah,
approaching?
absolutely. You rightly picked a very valid observation. We are the fifth most vulnerable country in terms of the climate issue. And the recent, as you just mentioned, smoke, fog, and drought, even the flash flooding is a very common phenomena in Pakistan. And one of the reasons behind this massive construction in the urban area. Look at the geography of Islamabad. If you are located in Islamabad and you were here in the before 2 decades in the 20s, 90s, you could have a very different environment. But due to this massive construction, there is a significant change in the temperature, as you mentioned also. The policy suggestion that we floated from the platform is to need to revisit our construction pattern, because currently we are allowing one floor, two-floor building, and that is also a kind of expansion, like you can see like a linear city, you can see like a circular city. But what we need in the time required is to move to the high-rise buildings. As look into the others, big countries, big cities like New York, like Dubai, like any other country, city, they are believing on the high-rise building. The solution for us to create one of the recent phenomena of the 15-minute walkable cities, where you need to
Exactly.
create a green places, where you need to build a high-rise building that accommodate every kind of income groups, high income groups, middle
Exactly.
income groups, low
Exactly,
income groups.
Dr. Iqbal, and thank you so much for highlighting that as well, and how, on the policy framework we might have to work. And it's because of the fact that, the finance minister himself actually states that, population and climate change actually happens to be an existential problem for the people of Pakistan. And for each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that as Pakistan, it is our sole responsibility to make sure that wherever we can contribute to enhance the government functions and government bodies, we really need to kind of do that as great citizens. And me and Naila over here, alhamdulillah, happen to be great citizens, not just great citizens, great people who've been on well this morning, which is why today we have to beg for leave, and that too a little earlier than usual. And it's because of the fact that the state guest over here, which we mentioned about in the highlights, is making his way to the studio. So ladies and gentlemen, until next time, look after yourselves. A great good morning to each and every one of you. Look after, stay blessed. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much,
Love
Naila.
this. Thank
Yeah,
you,
you did a
Shahzad.
good job.